Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing a short video basically just going through my current fitness journey. So I started kind of really going to the gym about 1 year ago today. It's about September now, end of September is when I got my gym membership in Galway University, and it was the very first time where I was really going to the gym, I suppose, consistently for an entire year. So in that time I've gone from 60 kg to about 75 kg without gaining any fat, more or less. It's completely muscle build that I've managed to gain in that time. Obviously I've had to eat a lot more and train with a structured kind of a rhythm. So I'm just going to break down, I suppose, what I've been doing, what I think went well and what I hope to do in the future. So about this time last year I saw a really good video about basically explaining the concept that for people it kind of makes a lot more sense to focus on gym rather than competitive sports. Nothing wrong with casual sports. Casual sport is great. It's great for increasing testosterone, for I suppose being active in the community, for having a social outlet. But if you're involved in a competitive sport where you're not being paid and there's a significant risk of injury, it really just doesn't really add up long term, in my opinion. Like, you could get fame from it, I suppose, if you're really good, and if you're being paid, maybe the risk would be worth it. But if you look at a lot of sport players, the majority don't get paid that well in lower leagues. The majority do sustain quite bad injuries at some point, and these injuries are carried all the way through their lives afterwards. They stop playing sports in their 30s. They can live up until they're like 90 or 100, but those injuries consistently there in the background. Also, a lot of these sports, they're cardio sports that involve a lot of running, and you don't really build up kind of, for men anyway, a masculine frame. You don't really build up muscle in the same way that you would if you kind of really focused on gym. So this is partly why I decided that gym would be my focus in the near and in the future, as opposed in general, but also now at the moment and for the last year. Whether that is doing gym exercises at home with just one or two dumbbells, or whether it's actually being in a real gym and using all the machines, doesn't really matter too much, as long as you're trying to go for heavy weight and for good movement, good form, really exposing your muscles, really exposing them to really good resistance training, and at the same time eating clean and eating a lot in order to build up the mass, in order to make sure you're actually giving your body the nutrients it needs to benefit from this work that you're doing. So here now in my new apartment, we have a gym downstairs, which I've been going to about 4 times a week, something like that. I do have sports training on a Sunday and on a Monday, and that is, I suppose, mostly cardio based. It's Irish sports, hurling and football. So, but thankfully it's not uber competitive, it's not super competitive, so I do manage to not expose myself to injury. The risk is a lot lower, let's say, than if it was really competitive. So I still get the social aspect, I still get the community aspect, and this kind of competing against other men in sports, which is really good for motivation, etc. But I also am exposing myself to that added unnecessary risk long term. And yeah, of course, you could get unlucky, you could get an injury just even getting out of bed, right, or going down the stairs. But the likelihood is, if you're doing sports, you're already going to be quite fit and quite nimble, quite athletic. So you actually reduce the risk of that over your life if you're doing some element of sports. And then if you're doing, obviously, gym in a safe way alongside it, you're going to be stronger and more sure-footed in all you do anyway. So I just have a few points. First of all, why does it matter to build up muscle? Why is it so important? There's a few reasons. I think the most important reasons aren't to do with aesthetics. They aren't to do with kind of things that are visual. They're more about long-term health benefits. So like, the more muscle you have, the stronger you are in life. That's obviously going to be a benefit to begin with, but also you build up bone density, which is important when you're older, when it's much harder to maintain bone density. So with stronger muscles, you'll have stronger bones, which means you'll be less likely to break bones, less likely to damage bones as you get older. I think there's a kind of a decreasing margin of like almost half to 1% of bone density per year at a certain point when you're quite old. So you want to make sure you have that number as high as possible before that starts to occur. So that's a really big one for me, just on paper. Then of course, yeah, I mean, aesthetics is great. Life is easier when you look good, for sure. Things are easier. But even I have this theory about aesthetics. If you look good, then theoretically you're healthy. I mean, looking good is just kind of the way we've been programmed to decide a person looks healthy and looks like they have good features for life in general. So it isn't completely bad to chase aesthetics. To a large degree, it's actually quite a good motivating factor. It gives you something to compare yourself to. It gives you a kind of a progress chart. And obviously, if somebody has got a lot of extra fat, you can see that aesthetically, and it's a very easy way of benchmarking where you are on your fitness journey. So it just makes sense to follow or to aim high in terms of aesthetics. I definitely think if you're doing it for the right reasons, and it isn't just because you're like looking yourself in the mirror all the time, or you've got kind of an egotistical reason for doing it, then it's okay. Like if you have a reason that is like long-term based, then it's going to be much easier to stick to it too. So like this idea of bone density, this idea that life will be easier and better for you long-term, this idea that you'll be stronger, more capable in what you do, then I think this is the best way to go. Yeah, I really do think that given the last year, the biggest things have been learning how to train properly for maximizing muscle growth. So clearly, as I said before, we've gone from 60 kg to 75 kg. Probably I'm actually at 73 right now. The last time I weighed myself was a couple of weeks ago, but I think I've lost maybe a little bit since I've been here, simply because I've been so busy. But I'm trying to get now back into the habit of eating more again per day, calorie wise. But yeah, the way I see it is I've been really trying to focus on doing high weight, low repetitions, especially on machines, for example, where it's quite safe to do high weight, low repetition exercises. Just make sure you kind of shock the muscle rather than just doing high reps, low weight, where you mightn't really be doing anything to shock the muscle based on what you did yesterday, unless you did a really large amount of sets. But I think for me, it's just been a lot more efficient time wise to go really heavy for shorter reps, for less reps. It's been much easier for me to do. Also a lot more motivating to go heavy. Now you need to be careful that you don't pull something, that you don't damage anything. I've had no problems whatsoever with any kind of anything in that direction. I don't do anything crazy warm up wise. I mean, I do like the normal warm ups, and I do like sort of the stretching afterwards. Well, maybe I should do a bit more. I'm not too sure about that. That's probably something I could improve on. But I feel like I don't do anything out of the way. And yeah, it's just trying to get into the gym as regularly as possible. I mean, the last year, I would have done 3 days a week in the gym, and then a little bit at home as well. And then I kind of let that slip back a little bit over maybe, let's say, November to January while I was off college, because I wasn't actually near the gym. And then I would come back again. But I always made sure I put in a very good session every 2 weeks. Like a full body session where I basically was almost aching for 2 or 3 days afterwards. And there's nothing better than that kind of feeling where you know you have this feeling of lactic acid. I don't know, is it because I wasn't stretching properly or stuff, but you just know that you did something of value that week. You just know that you really put in the effort. You can literally feel the regions in your body which are now developing. So it's a very satisfying feeling. I haven't really felt... I feel that more on like periods where I've taken a bigger break from the gym, and then I come back in and I do probably a much longer session than normal. So I'm not exactly sure what the science is on what's better, whether you should go more often or more regular. All I know is that I have gained this amount of muscle over this amount of time while keeping my body fat percentage more or less the same. Now, I haven't actually ever measured my body fat percentage properly. It's always been kind of like just visually, and I can just see that my waist is the exact same basically as it was a year ago. Like I've never really had any fat in that region. Probably also to do with eating clean, probably the biggest reason. So even though I haven't eaten a lot more this year, especially oats has been kind of the big thing. I've had a lot of oats in the morning and the evening. I would have soaked about that much oats in kind of a container of this size, and I would have that in the morning and the evening. At the moment I'm eating them dry, but I should probably soak them again. It's just much easier to eat them very quick. You get a lot of calories in. And then every single meal I'd have, I tried to make sure I'd be as full as possible, which has been a little bit harder. I had COVID in the summer, and I had kind of a period. I mean, that's probably why I lost a bit of weight lately. It has been harder for me to eat as much, but I'm getting back into it now. I mean, the last couple of weeks have been getting a lot easier, and now it's just about organizing the food myself, organizing get the macros in, get the calories in. And yeah, it is important to make sure you eat enough protein, you eat enough carbohydrates during your day. Make sure it's kind of a balanced mix, eating natural foods, making sure you're getting fruit and veg too for your vitamins and stuff. I do take, I have them over there, one multivitamin, and I also take a krill oil tablets for omegas, just for bone, joints, those sort of things, specifically joints. Just making sure you're covering yourself there. And yeah, I do have a vegan protein powder. Now it's only vegan because I don't seem to tolerate too well the whey version. But I got a very good deal for this. It's pea protein and it has added BCAAs. It was about €40 for 5 kilos at the time. I mean, I had like coupons and stuff, so I thought that was a very good deal at the time. And I do take that on days where I don't eat enough protein naturally, and I would take them before and after gym sessions, depending on the day. I'll probably take some now before I go down now training again. And yeah, now when I go down, I'll probably focus. Let me see, today is Wednesday, so probably leg session today. But normally, for example, if it would have been arms on Monday, just going for a decent weight, making sure that whatever you're doing feels a pump, making sure that you are really pushing yourself, not too far over the limit, but like as far as you can go, to a point where it's safe and to a point where you're actually doing something. I think a lot of people go to the gym and like waste a lot of time. They spend a lot of time on a weight that is way too easy for them, especially on machines. I see people that put on like 10, 15, 20 kg on machines where they could be doing 50. I always try to go for a weight where I'm really struggling almost by the 5th rep to hold the form. Mightn't be best for form, but I do feel like I'm getting more value out of my time there than other people are a lot of the time. It's great now I actually have 2 or 3 people in the house here who are kind of similar minded to me in terms of gym. Some of them know form better than me, so they're teaching me how to do form a little bit more accurately, a little bit better, a little bit more targeted to isolate the muscles, especially with dumbbells and things like this. I never really was taught how to do them properly. I did look at YouTube videos and stuff, but at a certain point I definitely can improve an awful lot, so that's a great benefit for me. So yeah, I mean, it's been 1 year since I started the gym. When I was younger, everything would have been sport based. I would have done an awful lot of hurling, football, basketball, soccer for probably the last 18 years. Okay, fine. The last 16 years I've been outside at least twice a week playing a football match in my local area. I mean, from literally when I was 4 or 5, we were out every single day in the summer. So I already would have been semi-athletic from that. And then of course I've been doing a lot of cycling the last 4 or 5 years, an awful lot of cycling. So that would have been good for core strength. So I have this theory, I'm not sure exactly what the science on this is either, but let's go with it. I think it's better to focus on these kind of sport activities when you're young and not on bodybuilding. Partly because I've heard that if you start bodybuilding too young, you can obstruct growth development in certain areas like height. So probably best to be as athletic as possible, do bodyweight exercises in your teens, and only really start focusing on lifting really heavy weights and stuff once you're 18 to 21 in that region, once you've kind of finished growing, just so you don't kind of obstruct that. Now again, I'm open to correction on this, but I think that's the logic is something along those lines. And I've had a few friends complain who said they started gym too young and they feel like they've lost out a bit on growth, but of course now they're very muscular, but if they would have waited 2 or 3 years more, they might have had benefits more long term. So yeah, that's kind of my theory. I mean, I think people should probably, if you take away one thing from here, it's just like start focusing on gym only once you're 21, thereabouts, maybe 20, maybe 19, depending on your height, and then to really focus on lifting heavy, obviously doing it safely, doing it with good form, and eating clean and eating a lot to make sure that you're actually getting benefit from this. Because I do think it is desirable to have a strong masculine frame for if you're a man, and for women of course too, to be strong is beneficial. Just being able to do things in life. Everybody should do a bit of resistance training every single week alongside with a bit of sport, something like this. It just makes life so much more enjoyable, something to do in the evenings, something to really focus on to motivate you. And yeah, I think you should do things that you enjoy in the gym. Like, you shouldn't hate going to the gym. I've had this conversation with a lot of people where they say they hate going to the gym, or they hate the individual exercises. Maybe they don't mind going to the gym as a whole, but the individual exercises they don't like, they don't enjoy them. And I think, why? I mean, like, just pick the ones you like, and then do the ones you don't like a little bit, and you can get better and better at them over time. But like, make going to the gym enjoyable. It doesn't have to be it doesn't need to be something that you don't like doing. Why should it be? It should be something that you like doing, something that you enjoy, you look forward to. That's the way I've been about it for the last year. Like, I love going to the gym. I love taking my time in there, doing things properly, getting benefit from it. It's just such a win-win situation, and it's something you can do with friends, with family. Like, it's just such a great environment. I think, like, literally everybody in the gym is there to improve themselves. Like, where else do you find such an environment, like, where everybody's turning up to improve themselves, to get better in life, to get better, to improve their bodies? It just seems like such a special environment, and I don't see why you should be there with the mindset that you hate going there, that you really would rather be somewhere else. Like, it's such a fantastic place at the end of the day. A little bit like a temple, a little bit like a place of worship to yourself, where you're preparing yourself, making yourself better. So yeah, that's basically my all the information very quickly written down here on my, I suppose you could call it my fitness journey, like any other person. Yeah, we'll see now. Hopefully next year there'll be some more results. I sincerely doubt that I'll have gained as much weight in the same amount of time. I would love to get somewhere in the 80 kgs of pure muscle and low body fat. Whether that's going to be a bulk cut situation, a little bit like I had this year, or whether it'll be just more gradual bulking, slower, we'll find out. I do find, since I've lived here, I eat less regularly, but I eat more when I eat. So I cook much bigger meals, but I don't have them as regularly. Like, I've gone to like 3 days and 3 meals a day at this point. So like, I'd have a bit, not a massive meal in the morning, then a really big meal at lunchtime, like massive, like way bigger than I used to have, and then a decent enough meal in the evening as well, just to cover off anything I would have done in the gym or at training. So I would probably prefer it if I could get a bit more calories in, simply so I can start gaining weight again a little bit, especially now with all the gym work I'm doing. But if I can maintain, I'd be super pleased with that as well, given how busy I am at the moment, given how much I'm doing, how much I'm traveling. That's kind of a goal. Like, just maintaining will be fantastic. I need to find a weighing scales again somewhere, just to see what my weight is at, because I was really good at tracking this during the year, simply because I was so curious about what weight am I in the morning, what weight am I in the evening, all these things. It was a very satisfying experience to watch the weight go up over time. Yeah, somewhere in like the 80 kgs would be fantastic of pure muscle. Just would be great to carry that through your life. It would mean that you'd be plenty strong for any activity or tasks that would come across, that you'd come across in your life. So I do think that would be fantastic. Yeah, so I think that's basically all I have to talk about today. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.